Welcome to datascience.show, the podcast where data science meets executive leadership. We talk with top AI and analytics thought leaders about turning data into real business impact. If you're a C-level leader or data expert shaping the future, you're in the right place.
I'm your host, Mirko Peters. Welcome to datascience.show, where data science meets leadership, and we focus on less hype, more impact. Today's episode is titled, From Confidence Intervals to Board Decisions, Translating Model Uncertainty into Executive Risk Narratives. We explore how to turn probabilistic outputs into clear, actionable decisions the board can use, without losing the nuance that uncertainty requires.
Why this matters now. Boards and C-suites are being asked to sign off on high-stakes operational decisions, credit policies, automated pricing, resource allocation, often based on model outputs that look precise but aren't. Executives hear a number and think, do it, while the model is actually saying, there is a 72% chance, give or take. That gap creates risk. Today, I'll give you a practical playbook, diagnostics to demand, artifacts to present, and escalation paths to put in place.
Before we dive in, I want to introduce a guest perspective I'll be summarizing across the conversation. Imagine a chief risk officer at a large financial services firm, responsible for a global portfolio, a 100-person analytics organization, and regular board updates. She's seen a model recommend a new customer acceptance threshold that reduced losses in pilot, but created an unexpected regional skew when deployed. That experience shaped her belief. Executive decisions need calibrated narratives, not raw probabilities. I'll refer to her as our guest, CRO, summarized throughout.
Guest, Crow, summarized. When I walk into a boardroom and say, the model predicts 8% default, what the board hears is, we will see 8% default. They don't hear the error bars. They don't see the calibration issues or the segment-level breakdowns. That creates false confidence and operational risk. Let's move to background and perspective. Our hypothetical CRO runs analytics across credit, collections, and fraud. Their pain points include models that report aggregate accuracy while hiding tail errors, dashboards that lack scenario context, and board materials that mix business KPIs with raw statistical output. Over time, they learned 3 durable lessons. First, executives need translated risk, not raw metrics. Second, diagnostics must be both technical and narrative. Third, playbooks prevent last-minute panic when confidence drops. A quick note on scale and stakes. At enterprise scale, a few percentage points in model bias can mean millions in unexpected losses or regulatory scrutiny. That reality changes how decisions get made and whose signatures matter. We'll use examples from finance and operations, but the principles apply across industries where decisions are delegated based on algorithmic output.
Core discussion, strategy to execution, part 1. First, get your language right. There are 2 core types of uncertainty executives must understand: aleatoric uncertainty, inherent randomness in the data, and epistemic uncertainty, uncertainty due to limited knowledge or data coverage. Aleatoric is, we expect some noise no matter what. Epistemic is, we don't know enough about this cohort. Translate both into business terms. For example, aleatoric risk means we'll see variation month to month. Epistemic risk means we should be cautious with a new segment until we collect more data. Next, demand essential diagnostics and insist they be presented in executive-friendly formats. Top items are calibration plots that show whether predicted probabilities match observed outcomes, confusion matrices sliced by business segments, not just overall, prediction intervals for key KPIs, and error mode analyses that highlight when the model fails, for example, under certain geographic regions or customer cohorts. Each diagnostic should be paired with the business impact, what it means for revenue, compliance, or customer experience.
A concrete example. Rather than presenting Model A has 80% accuracy, show a 3-line summary. Global accuracy, 80%. Calibration gap in region X, model underpredicts risk by 6 percentage points. Worst case financial exposure at 95th percentile, $3.2 million. That last line is what executives need to make trade-off decisions.
Numbers tied to impact shift the conversation from abstract statistics to accountable choices.
Part 2 of Strategy to Execution. Artifacts you can operationalize. Build 4 board-ready artifacts: probability bands, scenario tables, stress test summaries, and an incident playbook. Probability bands show a central estimate and a credible interval, for example, 72% plus or minus 8 points, and map that band to operational actions. Scenario tables translate confidence levels into discrete decisions. If predicted default probability is greater than 70% with a narrow band, proceed. If greater than 70% with a wide band, require manual review.
Stress tests and scenario tables should include a conservative what-if column. If regional bias increases by 50%, expected loss increases to X. Mitigations required, pause auto-accept, and trigger manual underwriting. Pair these artifacts with a simple escalation matrix, green, amber, red, and map each color to owner, SLA, and action. For example, red, immediate board notification within 24 hours, and temporary rollback of automated actions. Operationalization examples. One bank implemented probability bands into pricing decisions and required a 2-person sign-off whenever the bandwidth exceeded a predefined threshold. Another firm automated an uncertainty flag in production, which routed high uncertainty decisions to a human review queue. These solutions are not tech fantasies. They are process changes that align model outputs to decision authority and control.
Now let's talk ownership and ROI. Who owns uncertainty communication? Short answer, it's shared, but accountability rests with a named executive, typically the chief risk officer or chief data officer, who ensures the narrative is board-ready. Your data science team owns the diagnostics and tooling. The line of business owner owns decision policies. The CRO/CDO owns escalation and messaging. Set SLAs for model confidence reporting, weekly for high-impact models, monthly for lower impact, and publish a short health score for each model that rolls up into executive dashboards.
Measuring ROI on transparency can be surprisingly straightforward. Track avoided losses from early detection, reduced manual review time after implementing better thresholds, and decreased incident frequency after introducing playbooks. Present these as simple delta metrics. After adding calibration checks and an escalation playbook, manual review hours fell by 28%.
Looking ahead, future outlook for durable, risk-aware AI practices. First, embed uncertainty into KPIs rather than treating it as an afterthought. Examples: percentage of decisions with a confidence band narrower than threshold, time to resolution for red-flagged model incidents, and proportion of models with live calibration monitoring. Second, adopt continuous monitoring rhythms, daily health checks for critical models, weekly reviews for medium-impact models, and quarterly audits with independent reviewers.
Third, rehearse low-confidence scenarios with cross-functional teams. Run tabletop exercises where a model's confidence degrades and the organization practices the escalation path: communications, mitigation, rollback. These rehearsals build muscle memory and reduce panic when it actually happens. Guest, CRO, summarized, "We ran a simulated degradation, and the rehearsal uncovered gaps in our manual review capacity. We fixed that before a real incident." Before we close, 2 actionable items you can deploy this quarter. 1. Request a 1-page calibration and scenario table for your top 3 models. It should include the central estimate, probability band, segment-level calibration, and a 1-line recommended action for each band. 2. Implement a simple escalation matrix that ties bandwidth to required approval levels and SLAs. Green, automated. Amber, senior analyst review within 24 hours. Red, executive notification and hold on automation. Those 2 items immediately raise the quality of board conversation. A final reflection on culture and responsibility. Building uncertainty-aware organizations is not about burying models in process or paralyzing decisions. It's about honest translation. Leaders must demand diagnostics in language they understand and create accountable processes that match risk. That's the difference between models and value.
Thank you for listening. If you found this episode valuable, subscribe and share it with your network. And let's connect on LinkedIn. I'm Mirko Peters. We'll be back with more conversations on how data science and AI create real business impact. Until next time. Turning data into business impact, from models to measurable value.
Thanks for listening to datascience.show. If you found value in this episode, subscribe, share it with your network, and join us next time as we explore how data science drives smarter decisions and better business outcomes.